Hello and welcome everyone today to our session on the Yale School of Management joint degree program between our MBA Silver Scholars program and our Masters in Asset Management program. My name is Laurel Grodman. I'm Assistant Dean for Admissions at the Yale School of Management, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to learn more about two of the early career graduate school options that we offer here at Yale. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of how we'll proceed through the next 45 minutes or so, I'll start by giving you some information about each of these two distinct Yale SOM programs, our Silver Scholars MBA program, as well as our Masters in Asset Management program. And then I will highlight the joint degree option that we offer specifically between those two programs and the timeline and details for that program. I will plan to open it up for questions from the audience during the last portion of our programming today. I will do my best to answer as many questions as possible. I will warn, I am a terrible multitasker, so I will not be keeping my eye on the chat along the way. But I am joined by two of my colleagues from the admissions team today, Melissa Kropp and Julie Dahlquist, who will be keeping an eye on the chat. And so what I'd suggest is if you have very, very specific questions about your own application, you might be best off communicating with Melissa and Julie through the chat. But if you have general questions that you think might be applicable for broader members of the audience, it would be great to save those until the end. And then I'll just ask you to use the raise hand function when we get to that point and share your question with the whole group. So with that, we will get started. All right, so just a little bit of grounding in what these programs are. So graduate school, and more specifically business school, is not a one-size-fits-all optionality here. There are a lot of choices that you have. And so many people, when approaching the idea of pursuing graduate management education, might ask themselves, should I go deep or should I go broad? And so kind of the two options that we're going to be talking about today are in some ways different ends of that spectrum, but giving you the option to combine them. So on the one hand, you have specialized master's programs. So these are focused on a very specific area, building specialized and often highly valuable technical skills. It's somewhat akin to gaining fluency in a language and knowing that language really well. On the other side, you have an MBA, which is a broader toolkit of business skills, understanding how various business disciplines fit together. And using that analogy of language, it's sort of akin to learning how to speak a lot of languages well enough to operate in a lot of different contexts, but probably focusing on one over the other, over the others in kind of picking the specific area that you want to focus on within an MBA program. And an MBA program is really organized to give you an eye towards leadership and kind of managerial skills within your postgraduate school career. So what I'll be focusing on today is sort of the best of both worlds option. It's a joint degree between these two programs. And Yale's joint degree programs are really intended to prepare leaders who will bring a broad understanding and analytical thinking to whatever industry they choose to work in. The joint degree program that we're focusing on today offers an MBA as part of our Silver Scholars program, which I'll talk about a little bit more, in combination with a Master's in Asset Management degree. And it's really intended for students who are coming directly out of their undergraduate program, with a little asterisk we can talk about a little bit later, but those coming directly out of undergrad who plan to pursue a career within the asset management industry, and more specifically in a variety of different financial management positions, ranging anywhere from investment analysis to philanthropic portfolio management and many other options along the way. But essentially what we'll be talking about today is the option of pursuing a Silver Scholars, pursuing an MBA through our early career Silver Scholars program, and combining that with a Master's in Asset Management, all through 2 years of education at the Yale School of Management. So with that, before I get into the particulars of each of these programs, I'll start with just a brief introduction to the Yale School of Management. So as a business school, we are very much driven by our mission, which is to educate leaders for business and society. That means we aim to develop leaders who can think broadly about the challenges that we face in an increasingly complex world and who have the ability to be decision makers in environments that consider multiple stakeholders, influencers, and consequences. It's really at the core of everything we do as a school across all of our programs. And what I think this means is that the students that we attract to our program and our community care about being successful in their careers, but also having a positive impact on society at large. And so I'll talk a little bit now specifically about the two different programs that make up this joint degree, our MBA Silver Scholars program and then the Master's in Asset Management. So I'll talk a little bit about each of those specifically, and then we'll put it together and talk about the joint degree option. So starting with the MBA side of the equation. So the Silver Scholars program, in the Silver Scholars program, which is a part of our broader MBA program, you will sit in the same courses as our standard MBA applicants. The Silver Scholars will spend their first year of the program on campus in the core of the MBA program. And this first year core is carefully planned to build your understanding of business organizations as a whole, eventually building up to big questions about big businesses' impact on society. The MBA curriculum at the Yale School of Management is a really innovative approach to building that MBA toolkit I mentioned before. So the courses at the heart of the core curriculum are called organizational perspectives, because they look at how organizations work through the lens of various constituencies. So this could be the investor, the customer, the executive, and so on. And the courses are meant to approach organizational challenges by drawing on multiple academic disciplines at once. So like in any business school, you'll learn marketing and accounting and operations and finance. But at SOM, you'll do so in a way that isn't so siloed by department, and in ways which integrate concepts from across disciplines to teach you what it's like to solve big, complex problems in the real world. So this means that sometimes our faculty members from different academic departments work together to co-teach a particular course, or you may study a particular case from multiple different angles in each of your organizational perspectives courses. So again, it's really designed to help you encounter challenges in the classroom in a way that's much more similar to the way that you'll encounter challenges in the real world, which require multiple lenses, multiple different ways of thinking, multiple disciplines. So a little bit about our MBA class. So these are some stats on our most recent class that we welcomed this fall. You'll see that Silver Scholars, which is the program we'll talk about just in a moment, made up just shy, I guess, of 10% of the class. We had 23 Silver Scholars in the most recent cohort. That fluctuates a little bit from year to year, but is a roughly representative example there. But as I mentioned, Silver Scholars are part of the general MBA cohort. You'll progress through the curriculum a little bit differently, but you sit in the same classroom as the full MBA cohort in your first year of the program. All right. So just to give you a sense of the full timeline as a Silver Scholar, so you will come into the program, as I said, and complete your first year in the MBA integrated core as a member of the general MBA cohort. But where this differs from a traditional MBA timeline is because Silver Scholars are coming into the program directly from their undergraduate experience without full-time professional work. We are hoping to give you an opportunity to build that professional experience and those professional connections during the course of your MBA. So after you complete your first year, you'll enter what we call your professional work experience period. And that can be anywhere from 1 to 5 years that you spend gaining professional experience. And this can be through a single extended work experience. It can be through a series of internships. You can construct this time in any number of ways, but you will go out into the world and gain at least 1 year of professional experience before returning for your final year of your MBA academic experience, in which you will take electives at the Yale School of Management, or you actually have access to to fulfill your final academic year. And so the Silver Scholars program is, I guess, at the very least a 3-year commitment, with that middle year being non-academic, but fulfilled through your professional work experience. But it could potentially be longer, again, if you were looking to gain more work experience during that time. So that is sort of the Silver Scholar part of that, the equation. Actually, let me touch upon the application process really quickly. So the Silver Scholars application is more or less identical to the standard MBA application, with a couple of differences that I'll point out. So when we select our Silver Scholars, we're using the same criteria as our standard MBA applicants, but we're emphasizing different aspects of the application. So for instance, we're taking a even closer look at your academics, because that's where you are within your trajectory. As a current student, will obviously be even more focused on what you are doing in the here and now in your academic experience. Because you won't have full-time professional experience, we're trying to gauge your, what I'll call, applied experience across your internships that you may have had, any kind of academic research that you've done, your extracurriculars. So we're taking a little bit more sort of attention to those kinds of experience, engaging your academic, or sorry, your professional potential. And with that, a slight sort of tweak on the standard MBA application is that we'll ask you for 2 letters of recommendation, but one of them will come from an academic source and one from a professional source. That's a little bit different from our standard MBA application, where we're asking for 2 letters of recommendation from professional sources. And then I'll highlight the interview as well. The interview will always be with a member of our MBA admissions team. Most of our standard MBA interviews are conducted by second-year students, but in this case, it will be conducted by a member of the MBA admissions team, just who has a little bit more insight and experience on the early career population in particular. But other than that, it is the standard MBA application. There are 3, oops, sorry. A little bit too far. 3 rounds of admission. We've already passed the deadline for the first round in September, but coming up next is our second round on January 7th. So that's the key date that you'll want to keep in mind. I've sort of glossed over the issue of kind of eligibility here, but I'll note that by and large, our Silver Scholars are coming immediately off of an undergraduate experience. There are exceptions to that. If you are in, for instance, a 1-year master's program that is happening immediately after your undergraduate experience, we would still consider you pre-experienced and eligible for the Silver Scholars program. But I'm actually going to ask if one of my teammates would put into the chat the link to our Silver Scholars page, if that hasn't happened already. We have a whole section on eligibility, which I think outlines a lot of common scenarios, and I think is a really good starting point to figure out if you are in fact qualified as a Silver Scholar. And just know that when we go through our admissions process, we are always going to put you into the pool of candidates where you have the best chance of admission. So we will ultimately make a call on whether your candidacy is better suited to, as a Silver Scholar or a standard MBA applicant. But the eligibility criteria online, I think, is a really good starting point for that. So that is the sort of MBA and Silver Scholars part of the equation. The next thing I'll talk about is our Master's in Asset Management program. So taking a little bit of a step back about what exactly is asset management. So put very simply, asset management is the practice of increasing wealth over time by buying, selling, and trading assets. Professionals in the asset management space provide the service for others. Their job is to balance risk and reward through a variety of strategies, helping their clients come out with the most favorable outcome. And asset management clients can include many different entities. It could be high net worth individuals, it could be governments, it could be corporations or institutional investors like colleges or pension funds. So there's a lot of different industries that support the work of asset management. And there's many, many different avenues for employment that fall under the umbrella of asset management. Just a few types include investment analysts, research analysts, portfolio and fund managers, private wealth managers, just to name a few. And endowments, hedge funds, private equity funds are just a few types of employers that deal within the asset management space. So just to give you a brief kind of crash course in what the field of asset management could mean from a career perspective. So now a little bit more specifically about our one-year program in Masters in Asset Management. So background, the program was created by Professor Toby Moskowitz, who's the Dean Takahashi Professor of Finance at the Yale School of Management, in partnership with David Swenson, who is the late Chief Investment Officer for the Yale Investments Office, and really a pioneer in the field of endowment management, developing what is widely known as the Yale model. The two of them saw a real need and a demand for a finance program that was devoted specifically to asset management and that combines the best of academic theory and practice. And so their vision was to merge the perspectives and expertise of top finance scholars with leading investment managers, which has resulted in a truly unique curriculum that is not replicated in any other program in the world. So I called it a one-year program. In reality, it's a 9-month program following the 9-month academic year. It's a very quantitative focused degree program that is similar to our Silver Scholars program, truly targeted towards early career candidates. So we think of it as early to your asset management career. We do have students who are coming into that program with some prior work experience, most commonly in the sort of 1 to 3 year time frame, who have, again, some professional experience, but are looking to launch their asset management career, and hence we consider it an early career program. The asset management program is similar to the MBA, divided into a core curriculum and elective classes. So most of the core courses are taught by top-ranked SOM finance faculty who are pursuing cutting-edge research across a wide variety of topics relevant to the field of asset management. And then many of our electives are taught by leading investment managers who are in the field navigating real-life market conditions and challenges in their day jobs. And because of Yale's unique in-house experience in this area, because of our external connections to industry and access to the broader Yale University, we're in a position to offer an extensive and really unique slate of courses developed specifically for this program. Courses like alternative asset classes, behavioral finance, ESG investing, courses focused on the legal and regulatory landscape, machine learning, quantitative investing, and venture capital and private equity, just to name a few. And students are encouraged to take classes not just within the asset management program, but also to explore subjects that are available across the Yale School of Management as well as the university. Just a couple of other highlights of the program. We also offer an asset management colloquium, which gives you access to industry leaders across a range of relevant fields who come into Yale and speak with our asset management students in an intimate setting, and you get to hear directly from leaders in their careers. You'll also complete what we call a practical experience requirement. This is a minimum of 40 hours in the spring semester dedicated to applying your classroom experience in a real life setting. And this can be fulfilled in a variety of ways, such as interning with an asset management firm, assisting a finance professor in research that's related to asset management, participating in an investment-focused case competition, just to give you a few examples on that. We're also highly focused on students' professional success. So we have a dedicated career specialist in our career development office who works exclusively with our asset management students before even the start of fall classes. And you'll have access to the full Yale network of employment and internship opportunities as a participant of the program. One of the things that we've heard Toby Moskowitz say over and over was that he and David Swenson felt that this program was a chance to do it right, meaning to give our students a one-of-a-kind chance to learn the theory and practice of asset management with an emphasis on both the ethical and the fiduciary responsibilities of investment managers. So circling back to what I said about our school's mission to educate leaders for business and society and caring not just about our own careers, but about the impact that we have on the organizations and people that we interact with. I think that this program really speaks to that mission and is the sort of program that could only exist in a school like Yale. So with that, just giving you a snapshot of our most recent incoming class of Masters in Asset Management students who joined us this fall. So the current class is 60 strong. We have representation globally, 17 different countries of citizenship within this cohort. You'll note, we'll move on to talking about the joint degree. We had 5 students pursuing both the MBA and the asset management degree in this cohort. That number has fluctuated quite a bit from year to year. We've had, I think in the most recent class prior to this, that number was 11. So there's no sort of set cap on that, but we have had a healthy cohort of those pursuing the dual degrees in the classes that we have had so far. And as you can see, I'll point out in particular the distribution of work experience. So this most recent incoming class, about half of our cohort was coming in directly from their undergraduate experience, so without any professional full-time experience. And then the other half tend to skew towards that sort of 1 to 2 years of work experience, although we do have people who are pursuing the asset management degree with even more work experience than that. Okay, this is just a quick snapshot on the Master's in Asset Management application. Can see the various components of the application here. And unlike the MBA program, we have a single application deadline for the Master's in Asset Management program, January 9th, just a couple of days after the round 2 MBA deadline. I'm not going to go into each specific component of the application here, but I'll say at a high level, we are looking for 3 things in our asset management candidates. We're looking for your academic preparedness with a particular lens of assessing your quantitative preparedness. It is a very quantitatively rigorous program. We are looking for your professional impact and potential as demonstrated through your work experience, your extracurricular involvement, your personal interests. So very similar in some sense to the Silver Scholars program. If you are pre-experienced, we are looking to understand where you have gained applied experience to date, be it through internships, research, or otherwise. And then lastly, we're looking to understand your desire to make an impact in the field of asset management immediately graduating from the program and beyond. This is a highly specialized degree. We are looking to bring people into the program who are going to benefit from that specialization and are truly eager and excited to work in the field of asset management. So as I said, each component of your application will help inform some aspect of this, but what it really means is there's no one ideal candidate profile for the asset management program, but rather students can come from a variety of different academic and professional backgrounds and find success within the program. As I mentioned, 1 application deadline. Our application is currently open, so you can take a peek in the application itself and get a sense of what that will look like. I will mention for both Silver Scholars and asset management, we do have other programming that's very specifically focused on the application process itself. So I'm just sort of providing an overview right now. But if you are looking to dig a little bit more into the application components and get a sense of what the application process looks like, there are other events that you can sign up for that will definitely dive a little bit more deeply into the various components here. All right, so finally putting it all together, as I mentioned earlier, as a joint degree, as a Silver Scholar candidate, you will spend your first year at Yale SOM in the MBA program, and that is the same if you choose to pursue a joint degree between the two. So this sort of lays out what your time in and around SOM would look like as a joint degree candidate. So every joint degree will spend their first year in the MBA program in that integrated core curriculum that I talked about. As a Silver Scholar joint degree, you will then go out to gain your professional experience. And same as I said before, this will be a 1 to 5 year professional work experience outside of your academic time at Yale SOM. The difference between just the traditional Silver Scholar pathway and the joint degree with Master's in Asset Management is that when you return for your final academic year in the joint degree program, you will then enter the Master's in Asset Management program. So essentially your final academic year at SOM, your second year at SOM, will be in the Master's in Asset Management program, where you will build that strong quantitative foundation, the analytical skills, and the knowledge of different asset classes that will allow you to launch your career in the space. So you will be awarded both degrees after spending 2 years in the Yale classroom. So in that sense, you will, it's not an additional time commitment, but it is an additional kind of layer of focus and intention in your final year of your time at Yale SOM. From an application perspective, joint degree applicants must apply to and be admitted to both programs independently. So it's two separate application processes. It's two separate admissions teams reviewing your application. And so you will need to complete those processes separately. Each of those applications will give you an opportunity to identify that you are interested in pursuing the joint degree, and it will give you an opportunity to talk about why that makes sense for your own individual trajectory. But as I said, you will have to apply separately and be admitted to each of those programs in order to be able to pursue the joint degree. You have two pathways for doing this. So applicants can apply directly to both programs simultaneously and receive decisions, in the same year about whether you can pursue the joint degree program. Alternately, you could apply to the asset management program in your first year of the MBA program. Or if you're a silver scholar, you could apply in the first year of the MBA program, or while you are out on your professional experience, if you decide that you want to return. So you have to do the program in the order, first the MBA core, and then the asset management program. You can't reverse that. But within there, as I said, you can apply either at the same time to both programs, or you could choose to apply to the asset management program once you have begun your MBA program. It's really whatever works best for you. So that was a lot of information. I'm going to open it up to Q&A in just a second. You'll see here also, just on the bottom of the screen, our general mailbox for both the MBA and the Silver Scholars, our MBA program and the Asset Management program. If you have any specific questions about your candidacy to either program, you can certainly reach out. I'll open it up to questions in just a moment, but as I mentioned before, we do have a lot of programming specifically focused around the application process, so we definitely invite you to check that out and join for that. I also we'll be hosting an asset management student panel on November 13th at noon. And so we encourage you to hear directly from some of the folks going through that program right now, if you're curious to hear from the student perspective about the asset management program.